So I'm kind of gonna do how Sydney did a little bit, where showing you pictures on my Instagram of what this technique, the end technique, actually looks like. So I get a lot of people that ask me how I foil the back of the head, the bridal ridge here, because the head is rounded. This actually works really good for a foilayage or balayage that people like to say too, because you can actually flip the foils very easily and take those pieces out and go ahead and balayage the pieces. So a lot of people have their own technique, you know, for the front. This is kind of like a partial, as you will, highlight placement. So I usually disconnect or part from the ear to the ear. I'm just gonna go ahead and get that out of the way for you guys, and then I'll come back over so you can see what I'm actually doing. So I got screwed because this is kind of like a last minute thing for me, because I was actually planning on showing you guys how to cut hair with a torch, but the airlines would not let me bring my flame on the plane. This is my backup. So typically, you know, you can foil whichever way you want, you know, ear to ear. If you do the mohawk section, sometimes I like to actually foil from the ear to ear this way across the part. So a lot of times, you know, you won't see those lines there. So do whatever you want with the front, and then this is how I like to do my back. So obviously that's right where the round of the head is. So I take a section. I'm sharing a mannequin head today too. So I'm going to use conditioner just to kind of lock my foil into place, because I know Nora's got to use, and I'm using the whole back of the head. I mean, for God's sakes, I can't be selfish. I gotta share here.
The whole back of the head.
Okay, so I take it at kind of like a light little angle at the round of the head. And so I'll take a little thin section there. And it really winds up looking more of like a horseshoe shape, which is pretty cool. So if you want to go to my Instagram, Holly DeCastri, the first 3 photos are of this technique. So you can see what one looks like from the side. You can also see what one looks like from the back. And then also the very first photo on there, or very third photo, I should say, is one that I did a foilage, that technique in the back. This one right here, that's the foilage that I did. So it's that placement in the back of the head and then in between balayaging that. There's also one on there with like a little bit of a brunette, which is kind of like more of a caramelly color, which is a side shot. So that will actually show you what this foil technique looks like from the side view. So you can take them thick, thin, you can weave, bob and weave. So depending on how thick of a piece that you want them to see or not see, you can do. Weaving this is actually quite beautiful. When you weave this technique, it lays so softly in the back of the head that it looks so natural. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Can everybody kind of see what I'm doing? And I just kind of take this.
No. Can you come closer?
Can I come closer to you? I can.
Yeah.
Is that better? So again, just kind of following. And I mean, I usually don't section this out. I'm so used to doing this now, but if you need to, you can kind of section that bottom out and clip this over to know. So my partials are pretty full. They come down right down to the occipital, almost to the bridal ridge of the head. So again, just kind of clip that. That'll be like my section. So I don't want to fall down the steps. Yeah, just kind of take that right on that angle there. And it goes around right along the whole round of the back of that head. Again, just kind of want to get these in here so you can see exactly what we like. Shaking, cooking and shaking. So
singing for us?
Yes. Okay, she's got a lot of hair, but as you can see, I just kind of keep going around with that head. I want to get quite a few of them in here for you so I can show you how easily they will flip back and forth. And sometimes what I'll do is I will go ahead and balayage the underneath of the head up to this point, and then I will go in and foil this, and then like I said again, you can kind of go in between and balayage in between. Shampoo's a little slippery. And sometimes I'll even exaggerate a little bit more where I'll take it really far across. So it all depends on the shape of the person's head, you know, how rounded it is or how not rounded it is, depending. So if it's really rounded, I really do an exaggerated, I'll do like a really exaggerated, you know, arc across the back. And so when that falls, you got plenty of coverage there. That blonde really does fill in gaps. And again, just no matter where you part it, instead of foiling this way, you just really don't see the marks at all in the hair, or where the lines, technically those foil lines, where those lay. Now she's not as round as some of my clients, but you get the idea.
What kind of lightener do you use?
I usually use Aveda Enlightener. I love it because it's infused with jojoba oils. So it is a white powdered enlightener or lightener. So whereas some of them they tone, you know, they've got the little the purple tint to them. that air conditioner knows that I'm up here sweating my armpits out, just giving me a little rain. But yes, I like the Aveda enlightener. You can kind of make it to whatever consistency you need. It's good for balayage as well. But it's really gentle on the hair. I get great lift out of it, even with just 20 volume. I typically don't go over more than 20 volume. No matter really what the base is. I kind of like to take it slow and steady. You're not really supposed to put the enlightener with heat. Sometimes I do, just to give them a little bit more boost. But that's typically what I use for almost all of my blondes. Pretty much all my blondes. So again, just kind of going with the shape of that head there.
Would this be your partial then?
This would be a partial,
Okay.
Yes.
And do you normally start in the back for this too, so you can rinse?
I don't.
You start in the front? Okay.
I'll start usually at the ear, and I'll work my way up, and then once I'm done with half of the side, the one quadrant, then I'll start with my back, and then I finish on this side. And so typically what I'll do, sometimes I'll do two different formulas. I'll start out with a 15 volume or a 10 volume, and then bump it up as I work my way around. But usually by the time I'm finished putting in my last foil, I can come back and start pulling my foils out, and they're already lifted to where I need them to be. And then I let the rest of them just catch up. So usually not a lot of heat is required, because I just kind of let them sit in there until I'm done. And usually when I'm done with the partial, they're ready to start pulling out. So I pull them out as they go. So I never really leave my guests alone for too long. I'm usually popping back over every 5 minutes to kind of check to see where the foils have lifted to. So as you can see, this is kind of creating a little bit of you'll see this little pattern here. But what's nice is that you can easily flip them over. You flip them over. So this is a nice application as well, or technique too, that if you put Peru color in between, you know, so it's easy to flip, cover those grays, or even smudge the root down a little bit, and it just makes for an easy, quicker. I feel like it's a lot faster for me, not that I'm always trying to speed through a process, but I feel like with the way that these lay, I can kind of flap them really quickly back and forth. And yeah, just kind of keep going along the end of the head. And so This will probably be my last one that I'll put in, and then I'll show you where it is. So start, again, start right at that base of that ear. And then I will keep coming over to this end here. So that's like the back of my partial.
Awesome.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. That's pretty much it. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah, so pretty quick, easy, lays beautifully when you're done. You can apply roots in between very easily and balayage very easily in between. So it works, it seems to be a really faster process, and it lays really beautifully at the end. So that's it.